Here's what makes him essential reading for thriller writers. He understands how power actually works, not the Hollywood version, the real version. The version where politicians make backroom deals, where intelligence agencies play chess with human lives, and the people trying to do the right thing get crushed by the system. Today, we're talking about Brad Thor, one of the biggest names in geopolitical thrillers. If you don't know Thor, he writes the Scot Harvath series, which follows a Secret Service agent turned covert operative who tackles international conspiracies, terrorist plots, and threats that could reshape the world order. Before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe to Fireside Writer. I picked up my first Brad Thor novel, The First Commandment, when I was working at the Pentagon. Someone recommended it, said I would appreciate the inside the Beltway authenticity. They were right. What struck me about Thor wasn't just the action, though he writes phenomenal action scenes. It was how he captured the bureaucratic machine, the way decisions get made in DC, the way good people get sandbagged by careerists, the way politics poisons everything. When I wrote Redacted, I drew on the same experience. Jeff Coburn is a Navy aviator working in the Pentagon, investigating his uncle's Vietnam record, and he's up against senators, generals, and people with the power to make him disappear. That's Thor's world. That's the world I lived in. Thor gets the details right. The acronyms, the rank structure, the way military officers talk to each other, and the petty bureaucratic power plays. But more than that, he gets the mindset, the way intelligence operatives think, the moral compromises they make, the weight they carry. If you're writing geopolitical thrillers, spy novels, or anything involving government conspiracies, Thor is required reading. He's one of the best at showing how the sausage actually gets made. So let's talk about Thor's formula. He has one, and it works. Start with a geopolitical threat. Terrorism, cyber warfare, nuclear proliferation, anything that could destroy the world order. Give it a ticking clock. Then put Scot Harvath in the middle of it with orders to fix it by any means necessary. Thor's books are about action and moral complexity. Harvath isn't a Boy Scout. He tortures subjects when he needs information. He kills people who deserve it, and sometimes people who don't. He operates in the gray zone, where conventional rules don't apply, because the stakes are too high. What makes it work is that Thor doesn't shy away from the consequences. Harvath carries the weight of what he does. His relationships suffer. His moral compass gets harder to read. He becomes the thing he's fighting against little by little. That's what separates Thor from lesser thriller writers. He's not writing wish fulfillment. He's writing about the cost of keeping America safe when the enemy doesn't play by the rules. Here's the lesson. If you're writing protagonists who operate outside the law, make sure they pay the price. Don't let them be superheroes who can do anything without consequence. Make it hurt. Make it cost them something real. One thing Thor does better than almost anyone is weave real geopolitics into his fiction. He doesn't invent threats out of nowhere. He takes actual geopolitical tensions, Russia's aggression, China's expansionism, Iran's nuclear ambitions, and builds his plots around them. His villains are grounded in reality. His threats feel plausible because they're based on what's actually happening in the world. I worked in the Pentagon during the height of the war on terror. I saw how intelligence gets processed, how decisions get made at the flag level, how political considerations override operational ones. Thor captures that. When you read a Thor novel, you're not just getting an action thriller. You're getting a crash course in how the national security apparatus functions and how it fails. In Redacted, I tried to do the same thing. Jeff Coburn is investigating a Vietnam-era cover-up that reaches all the way to the Senate. The conspiracy isn't some shadowy organization. It's politicians protecting their careers, generals protecting their legacies, and a system that values loyalty over truth. That's real. That's how power protects itself. Thor taught me this. If you're writing about government, military, or intelligence, do your research. Get the details right, but more importantly, understand the culture. Understand how bureaucracy works, how power flows, how people rationalize moral compromises. Readers who know that world will respect the authenticity, and the readers who don't will trust you because you clearly know what you're talking about. Let's talk about pacing, because Thor is a master at it. His chapters are short, 5 to 10 pages max. Each chapter ends with a revelation or a hook. You can't put the book down because you always need to know what happens next. He also uses multiple POV characters strategically. You're not just following Harvath. You're seeing the villain's moves, the politician's scheming, the analyst piecing together the intel. That creates dramatic irony. You know more than any single character, which ratchets up the tension. Thor doesn't waste time. Every scene moves the plot forward or reveals character. There's no fat, no meandering. The story is lean and propulsive from page 1. I try to do the same in my writing. Redacted has short chapters that end with questions. Jeff discovers a redacted document. What's being hidden? He's being followed by a black SUV. Who's following him? Each chapter raises stakes and pushes you to the next. Here's the lesson. If you're writing thrillers, speed matters. Cut anything that slows the momentum. End chapters on hooks. Give your readers the reason to keep turning pages. So how does Brad Thor show up in my work? First, I think about authenticity. I worked in the Pentagon. I know what it's like when you're a junior officer working in flag-level politics. I know what it's like when your boss gives you orders that don't make sense. I know the frustration when bureaucracy gets in the way of doing the right thing. That's in Redacted. Jeff Kober isn't just investigating his uncle's death. He's fighting a system designed to keep secrets buried, and that system has more power than he does. I think about scale. Thor writes global conspiracies. I write military conspiracies that reach the Senate. Different scope, same principle. Power protects itself, and the individual trying to expose the truth is vastly outmatched. That's what makes it compelling. David versus Goliath. One person against the system. The question isn't just whether they'll succeed, it's what they'll have to sacrifice to even try. So that's it, my take on Brad Thor and what I've learned from his work. If you've read the Scot Harvath series, drop a comment and let me know your favorite book. And if you're writing geopolitical thrillers, what's the hardest part for you? Research, pacing, or balancing action with character? If you want to learn more about my novels, military conspiracies and government cover-ups, family secrets, head over to tjstecker.com and sign up for my newsletter. I've got updates on my publication journey and craft insights you won't find anywhere else. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Now go write something real.